Adullam, a cave. And in the cave of Adullam, here's what God says. Now, listen, I know you're going through something, but I'm going to send you 400 people who are going through the same thing. I'm going to send you people that are indebted, distressed, and discontent. There's 400 people right now that I know that are sick of this religious system that holds them back, that only takes and never gives, right? That only wants you to serve them and never serves you. And I'm going to call them unto you in Adullam, and I want you to raise them up. I want you to speak purpose into these people's lives. I want you to give what you didn't get from Saul. I want you to be what wasn't done for you. And so David has these 400 men of God there with him, and he begins to reproduce himself in them. There was a divine convergence that began to take place. See, right now in the spirit, I mean, even Sunday morning when people raise there's a divine convergence. We have people from all over different backgrounds. I meet new people every service, and I listen to some of their story, where they came from, how they got here, where their journey's taken them. Our Sunday morning class, we'll talk from 9 to 10. I'm listening to the questions and things they're asking. There's a divine convergence that's taking place. God's calling people out of the religious system that are desiring to be with him, that are searching after one man. David being that man is a type of Christ. They're only searching for Jesus. They're sick of religion. They're sick of everything it brings with it. All they want is the Lord. They don't want the trappings anymore. They don't want the big churches and the nice big Sunday schools and all the big platforms. They don't want any of that anymore. They want the Lord. And God's calling those people out of this religious system, and they're coming looking for him. And in the cave of Adullam, there he is. Because God's always found in the most humble of places, whether it be a stable or Nazareth. If you're going to find the Lord, you're going to find him in the most humble place. You'll never find him in the king's court. You'll find him out in the shepherd. You'll find him out in the field. You'll find him wherever people are, where the common things are. So they come out and they come to David, and David begins to reproduce himself in these people. And again, sometimes I don't think we read our Bible. Sometimes I don't, but there's divine convergence. But people started hearing a sound. People started hearing something in the spirit. Because you got to understand, when you aligned yourself with David, you're aligning yourself with a fugitive. So when you did that, you basically burned your bridges with Saul. You weren't coming back. Your family wasn't coming back. You were making a decision that I've now placed all of my hopes in this man and in what God's doing in his life. I can't go back to Saul because I know that they're going to kill me. They're going to take everything I have. They'll probably raise my house to the ground because I made a commitment to walk with what I feel God is doing. See, there's a price to pay for what we want to have from God. There's nothing free in the kingdom. See, when you see an altar, you know there's only one thing happening there. It's death, right? There's no misunderstanding when you see a cross. You know somebody's going to die. There's a price to pay to get where we want to go in the spirit. We have to leave religious systems. We have to hear that call and come out of it. In John 12, when Jesus is praying, he's talking to the Father, and the Father speaks to him. And when the Father speaks in John 12, the Bible said some said it thundered, and some said an angel spoke to him. People were hearing things, but they're hearing them on different levels. So we got people coming in, they're hearing things. They may not completely understand all they're hearing yet, but they're hearing a sound. And they're coming to where they're hearing that sound from because they want to hear a word of life. They want to hear a word of truth. They want to hear something that will equip them and sustain them and help them through these times that are in front of us. They need a word from the Lord. They don't need a 5-point message on how to be successful or 3 points to make people be drawn to you. They want something to be at the feet of Jesus, and they want somebody to help them grow in their walk with the Lord, be equipped for whatever ministry and thing God's put in their heart, and to help them succeed and to not be threatened when they do. And so God is calling those kind of people together, and it's happening here, but I believe there's a convergence in our area. I'm not in touch with other churches that much. I don't know anybody else, but I believe it's not just our church. I believe there's some things happening in other churches. I believe there's a holy convergence that's taking place like we have here at the Cave of Adullam, where God's calling people that are indebted, distressed, and discontent, and they're willing now to put it all on the line. They're willing to burn their bridges. They're willing to drive their stake in the ground and say, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. I don't have a plan B. I don't have anything to go back to. I'm all in on where we're going. God is calling us as a church to be all in. If you want to get where we're going to be, we're going to have to be all in. If you've got 1 foot even out on the edge, we're not going to get there. We're going to have to be totally sold out to what God's doing in front of us. And do we have a clear path on that? No, necessarily. No, we're walking by faith. Walking by faith doesn't mean you have a blueprint. Walking by faith means you know who makes the blueprints. You just want to walk with the Lord, and we're going to trust him that if we follow his presence, he's going to lead us. Like in Psalms 23 tonight singing, he's going to lead us where we need to go. Sometimes that's in a pasture and by a still water. Sometimes it's through the valley of death. Wherever it is, we know one thing, right? He's anointed us, and he's with us. So as we go through these things, we make sure that we put our stake down. God, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. I'm not going back to the life that I used to live. I can't just serve nominally in the kingdom and just come to church, give my tithes, show up, and be involved somewhat and go home and not my life not be changed. I need to give everything I have right now at this moment in time. I truly believe it's a divine moment when we all need to look deeply in our hearts. And whatever it is that if there's anything that we're holding back, we need to just, with reckless abandon, open up our hearts to the Lord and let him deal with everything in us. Everything that's taking place in our heart and our life. Because God is going to do something powerful in this area. And I don't want us to miss it. I don't want us to miss that opportunity. Now imagine only 400 people came out. There were thousands and thousands of more. I'm sure that were indebted, distress, and discontent. But they weren't willing to make that transition. What bothers me the most is Jonathan. You realize you can see everything we're talking about? You can feel it, touch it. You can make a covenant with it. But you'll die on the battlefield with Saul. I don't want to be Jonathan. I don't want to see and feel and know everything that God's doing and it be so real to me, but not be willing to pay the price to turn my back completely on a religious system and what God's not doing and not give myself fully to what God is doing. And wind up dying on the battlefield with a father who didn't love me, who didn't care for me, who only served himself. Imagine what Jonathan's life would have been like if he would have made a complete break with his dad and made a complete break.